Peace, love, and presence, beautiful folks. Welcome to Conscious Conversations. Let's get this party started. Sending out some invites to folks nearby. I am spamming and spamming and spamming. And we're about to get this show started. Dean's Natural Food Market in the building. Let me add my friend. How we doing, beautiful folks? Send invites to all the beautiful folks out there. Welcome to Conscious Conversation. Got Brother Dean on the line, man. Technology, 21st century. 21st century. Brother Dean, welcome. Welcome. How we doing, brother?
I'm doing great. In 21st century, I want you to know that if it weren't for Eileen, who's sitting to my left, because I am technologically challenged, I wouldn't be on here right now. So thank you to Eileen. And I'm doing well, Michael. And just so you can see here, barely, I'm repping the hood with my kid sweatshirt that it took you a couple of years to cough up and give me. So I'm grateful.
Okay, man. I was actually writing down all the jabs that Dean was going to take at us today. We're right on time. We're right on time.
Unbelievable. It's great to see you, man. It's really, it's nice to see you.
I love you, brother. I love you. And
Me too.
Oh, man. You love you too? Yeah, I'm glad.
I love you guys, and you guys are amazing, and the work that you've done and continue to do is, I believe, the right work. And I'm a better person for being in your company, and I'll always be grateful.
Oh, man. We're a reflection of your heart, man. We're a reflection of your heart. And for those who are just joining, who call Dean our day one, for those who know that, it's like it's a person's been with you since day one. This journey of kids. We were meet with Dean in a different environment in his store, right next to the cooler, on a regular basis, and just connecting to the soul. Dean was sprinkling gems on us. This was a beautiful friend, a beautiful supporter, and a mentor to our organization. So we definitely appreciate you. And yeah, Katie, our conscious worker, we are so grateful for you, and even providing meals, healthy, nourishing meals. But we're going to get into that. But without any further ado, we'll just start off with a little check-in to see how we're doing. So 1 to 5, how are you feeling? 5 being the absolute highest, 1 being the lowest. 1 to 5, how are you feeling? And what's one thing that made you smile today? And for those who are in the chat, you can answer this as well.
Well, I'm a 4. I feel wonderful, grateful, to be here with you and to share some of my own insights and to share your wisdom. I'm always in good company when I'm with you. What made me smile today? People made me smile today. Just being around like-minded people and being around kind, courteous people who share the same common goal is very refreshing and inspiring. I can't have a down day when I'm surrounded by the people that I'm surrounded with. So I'm very grateful for the people that I work with and the people that I'm fortunate enough to be around, and I'm once again grateful to be in your company. So I'm in good shape right now.
Physically, mentally, and emotionally. I love that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You see that light. For me, I'm about a 4.7, 4.7888921. And just really climbing up, because this is the beauty, of what we do this for, these connections. And one thing that made me smile today is just, beyond all the connections, just Rod and I even talking about this, one thing that made me smile, I had a meeting with Rod earlier, who's the other co-creator of Kids. And he said, make sure you're on time. Make sure you're on time.
Yeah, be on time.
Yep. Oh, man. So much love.
I know before we get into this, and I think we've touched on it briefly, I just want to share how impressed and privileged I am to work with you guys. As you were talking a moment ago, I was thinking that I was a seed in the soil that you shed water and sunshine on and allowed me to grow. And I know you're doing that for so many people. And from the moment I met you guys, I knew that your journey was sincere. I believe with all my heart that it's the right journey. It's the path that's going to change the world. And you've shed light on me, and you've challenged me at times to challenge myself, and you've encouraged me to bring out things within myself and find things about myself that I need to improve upon as a human being. And anything I could ever do to support your cause or causes like yours, that's a privilege of mine. And we like to say around here, receiving service is a right, and serving people is a privilege. And you guys bring it out in everyone that you touch, and and not to talk about different levels, but you guys play at another level, and you're pulling us all up, man. And I'm really grateful for it.
Oh man, it's a reflection of him. That's a reflection of Dean right there, man. Those beautiful words. It's inspiring. But I would say this, and me and Robert just talking about it, just how much you provided us as well. And understanding there is a balance. Especially when it comes to organization and business. And helping us reach out. Dean's probably like, I told you so. I told you so. But we're finally, the seeds are beginning to blossom. And we're starting to see the larger picture, especially of organization and business, and really taking care of your employees and things of that sort. But just like, okay, at the end of the day, we gotta, yes, the soul and the business, but we gotta make sure that lights are turned on as well, and keeping the shit rocking, but that's what the beauty of having you in our lives, and just providing us that insight, and always having like a living Buddha conversation, every time we go into that back room, and just like talking about how we can integrate this into the world, because that's the essence, whether it be Dean's Natural Food Market or KYDS, how do we integrate this to the world could feel? Because not everyone has, the heart and the vulnerability to actually have these deep, compassionate and healing and vulnerable conversations. But how do we bring this light into the world? And that's the magic that we're all creating. And that's why we're here today, So without any further ado, can we begin? Because I'm feeling that juice already in the heart space. Can we begin with a few mindful breaths, some letting go breaths, just to center ourselves and bring us into this moment? That sound good, appealing to everybody?
Absolutely. And if you don't mind, I'm going to get in a different position and close my eyes, and I'm going to allow you to work your magic and
Man.
enjoy the moment.
Yes, enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment, y'all. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. The only moment we have. Yes. So without any further ado, I invite everybody who's here to get into a nice mindful position where your head, neck, and spine are in one straight line. And just begin to relax your body. Allow yourself to be free. Allow yourself to be here. There's nothing that you need to hold on to right now. But can I just connect inside? And I invite you, if you choose to, close the eyes. Bring all of your awareness inside. Now, if you choose to keep the eyes open, there's nothing wrong with that. See if you can focus on a single point in front of you so your mind is not distracted. And just begin to settle into the body, noticing your feet against the ground. Noticing your sit bones against the chair. Wherever you're at, just notice the physical body. Can I relax the shoulders away from the ears? Begin to relax the entire face. Allow your jaw to be natural. Relax the cheekbone. Relax the forehead, the eyebrow. And relax the eyelids. And just connect here to the stillness that you've created. Nothing is good and nothing bad. Can I just observe what is in this moment? Now begin to notice the mind. And notice the nature of your thoughts in this moment. Maybe the thoughts are about the past or the future. Maybe the thoughts are just judging the experience. Whatever it is, just notice the thought. Just see if you can witness the thought. As if we're watching the sky, watching each thought, each cloud pass on by. Now we're going to transition 18 inches from the mind inside the heart. For some of us, the longest journey we'll ever take. Just begin to notice what's in the heart right now. Whatever arises, can I accept it without judgment, without criticism? Can I just observe what is? Again, nothing is good, nothing is bad, it just is. Now finally, let's connect to the breath. The superpower that we all have access to. Just notice the nature of your breath right now. It could be fast, it could be slow. It may be deep, it may be shallow. Just notice the nature of your breath. Maybe you observe the breath flowing in through your nostrils, touching the nostril hair, going into the lungs. Maybe it's the top of the chest, the middle, or the bottom. And on the exhale, your breath gently leaving from the lungs out of your nostrils. Let's connect here deeply. The breath is a beautiful indicator for how we feel at any point in time. Now, can I observe this space? The space in between the inhale and exhale, the space in between the exhale and inhale. Beautiful job. We're going to transition into what we call letting go breath. And just as it's named, it's an opportunity for you to let go of anything that no longer serves you in this moment. Any physical or emotional weight that we're holding on to. For this breath, we're going to inhale through our nostrils and we're going to sigh out the mouth with the release. Let it go. Let it flow. Let's begin with the first breath. Inhaling deeply. Holding at the peak, connecting inside. Feel everything. Open the mouth and sigh it out. Inhaling nice and deep down to the belly. Holding at the peak. And just feel that energy circulating throughout the body. Open the mouth and sigh it out. Last letting go breath. Let's make this the deepest breath yet. Inhaling nice and deep down to the belly. Holding at the peak for a count of 3, 2, 1. Open the mouth and let it all go. Relax your breath. Relax your body, your mind, and your heart. Just begin to observe the space within. Again, there's nowhere you need to go in this moment. All there is right now. And returning to the heart, I invite you to put a smile on your heart. Just feel that smile radiating through your heart and your entire body. And bring that smile to your face. Connect to the feeling, the joy of that smile. And when you are ready, and only when you are ready, I invite you to slowly open the eyes, bringing that smile from the inside to the outside. And I invite you to share that smile, not just with us on the screen, but share that smile with someone near you. Maybe you have a beautiful person helping you with the camera. Just share that smile with somebody. Sharing is caring. I often say, if someone doesn't have a smile, just give them yours. And let that be the light that they need to see throughout the day. The beautiful folks, welcome back. Welcome back. That was beautiful, man.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Michael. I'll catch up with you later, man. All right.
Yeah, man, it was good. It was good.
See you next week. See you next week.
Oh man, love you, brother. Love you, brother. So diving in, man, diving in. Brother Dean, what is this Dean's Natural Food Market? Let the people know what Dean's Natural Food Market, the vision, the mission, why it got started, what it's here to do and bring light to the world. What is Dean's Natural Food Market?
Well, let me go back a moment and say that the legacy of Dean's Natural Food Market goes back to my mother, who was a tremendous server and giver. And every good deed I do through how she lives in me today. So I was very blessed to, when I was a kid, we used to go to department stores and we used to, shake donation cans. And I was 10, 11, 12, 9 years old, whatever it was. And I mean, that's what we did. And we took in stray animals, and my mom was a nurse, and, she was a giver. And somehow, through some blessing, with humility, I say that I inherited a piece of that. And it has prompted me to try to serve a life of service and to try to make a difference. So through her, that legacy lives on. It's very, very important to me. And, my wife and my children, I believe, all share the same goal, and that is to make the world a better place through service, and to, consciously just try to understand the impact that we can have on people. So first and foremost is homage to my mother, who was just a great human being. And you'll forgive me, but I have some notes over here, so I'm going to look to my right time to time. So I've always loved serving people. I've always found it to be a great way to acknowledge that you're alive, and to put a smile on someone's face. I find often when we look in, almost always when we look inward, we're burdened with insecurity and ego and greed and all those things, and we're just focusing on ourselves. So serving others is an opportunity to let the light shine out. So the goal has always been to serve people. And I will tell you that as human beings, it can be challenging, right? We get insecure. Things happen, as you know. You take the path you're on you're influenced by other people. But first and foremost was the desire to serve people, hopefully in a way that they were not used to being served. So, I always like to think that, whether we're natural foods or being a furniture salesman or working in, selling cars, whatever you do, you can do it with authenticity, and you can do it with a deep sense of meaning. And it really doesn't matter what you do, it's how you do it. And so that's really where it stems from. And since you and I have some very deep, meaningful conversations, and we can share with our guests that a lot of that sense of service came from a sense of insecurity and a sense to be noticed and acknowledged. And it was a very motivating and driving factor for me. It was actually, in all candor, not the greatest way to find service for people. But the truth is, and I share that with others because they may share the same experience. And the truth is that oftentimes we seek acknowledgement to compensate for our own insecurities. And as we further progress in the conversation today, and perhaps it goes down that road, we can begin to understand why that happens and how to manage that, and how to continue to inspire yourself to be a better human being, yet be more comfortable with yourself. So that's really, where it comes from. I also wanted to create a workplace that was different. And I wanted it to be a place where our team shared in the success. I didn't want, I'm not big on cliche-ish terms. No one works for me. I'm not anybody's boss. It's not a job. We don't have employees. We have people, and we have roles to fill, to serve. And I really just didn't want this boxed in feeling of having a brick and mortar store with that just was there to make money. I have found in my years of doing this that when we're serving people, we're happier, morale is better, our customers, I think, are happier, and the end result is, I think, as a business, we're more successful. And when we get insecure and we start focusing on the need to be more profitable and stressing out our teams, which we push our teams real hard. I'd be lying to say that we don't push real hard, because we should push hard. We should be constantly challenging ourselves to do better. But when I focus on those things, and we focus on those things, because it flows down, it flows across, not down, it's a stressful environment. So the focus is always to create a workplace that people like to be in. I will tell you that it brings tremendous challenges. It's not as simple as it seems. You know, I remember early on, we had a coworker who couldn't afford to go on a honeymoon, and you know, I spoke to my wife and I said, "Hey, do you think, you know, we could pay for this person's honeymoon?" And we did, and that person came back 2 days later and quit, and I was like totally blown away. And I had to go deep within myself to realize why I did what I did, and that it really wasn't about my agenda, and that I had to really work hard to let go of any anger or animosity that I might have had. And I think what I'm really trying to say is the reason that life can be challenging and that the workplace is no different is that people bring their lives to work, and people's lives are like shadows. Their life story is like a shadow, and it's influenced by, they say it's been influenced by three things, and that would be memory, expectation, and experience. So the challenge is to create an environment where people are have the ability, if they so choose, to let their guard down and surrender to the experience. And that's a very, very difficult thing to do, because we build up armor to get through every single day. And my ultimate goal for our company would be to have this be a place where there's no armor, where people can come in, not just our teams, but our customers, and experience the true essence of who they are. And finally, you know, I am fortunate and blessed really to be in the natural food world where, you know, I've been blessed to serve conscious consumers for 25 years. And I've learned so much and have been so inspired. But I remember, you know, when people started bringing their own grocery bags instead of using paper bags, and you know, people were spending more money on food because not only did they understand that it nourished them, but it nourished the planet as well. And in some ways, we're products of our environment. So when you are surrounded by the wonderful people that I have had the blessing to be surrounded by, you know, it gets woven into the fabric of who you are. And it continues to, so then you continue to be the student, but you also become the teacher. And it's a wonderful place to be. So that's kind of a little bit of the history of our company. You know, we've grown, and we are constantly striving to, I mean, I'm blessed to work with wonderful people, and we're constantly striving to be better and to serve more.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. And just the reflection of the inner, the outer that you just spoke about, you know, even your own personal journey of how it led me to this, you know, and what it can do for not just myself, but the individuals, you know, my coworkers and my colleagues. When I take off my armor, you know, and show a little bit of vulnerability, authenticity, what it allows others around me to do as well. And I want to ask you, you know, and just like switching gears, because it's like, it's not Dean's food market, it's Dean's natural food market. What's the importance of that natural and everything that you sell within your store?
Well, we try to live consciously. So when you attempt to live consciously, you try to make conscious decisions. So we try to bring in products that align with who we are as a company. You know, as you may know, in 2012, we banned high-risk GMO ingredients from our stores unless it met certain criteria. And we have focused on providing, you know, only organic produce for people. Those are standards that we live by, but equally as important as the products and this really isn't about Deans as much as it is about all of us, is, having intent and making conscious decisions, and not just doing something for the sake of doing it or out of the sake of repetition. But being aware of what you do, being aware of the products that you purchase, being aware of the way that you interact with other people. It's all a part, it's all connected.
Yeah.
And
Oh
I've
yeah.
often said it's not about the organic apple, right? It's about the farmer who has made a commitment to grow sustainable food and to nourish the soil and to be conscious of the environment. It's about the consumer who can buy an apple for $1 a pound less, but makes a
Yeah.
choice to be here. And that's a very humbling individual to serve. I mean, if you think about it, people candidly come here, they pay more, it's important to them, and it's also important to their values. And, some people will say to me, oh, that's not really important to me. And that's that reference to looking inward that we talked about briefly just a few minutes ago. Well, what about thinking outward? What about the impact on our environment? What about the fact
Yeah.
that we're sustaining farmers who are practicing, who are implementing good practices day to day? So it
Yeah.
everything goes so far beyond our reach that the impact that we can have if we look outward is profound. So,
Yeah.
the word natural is, I've never really liked the word because it's really undefined and it's misused. Um, you know, I look at packages and I look at boxes of things and it says natural on it, and I'm like, that's a marketing ploy to convince a customer. I saw a chicken truck drive by me the other day, and I won't name the name of it, but it had a picture of a farmhouse on it, and I'm like, gosh, if people only knew the living conditions of those chickens, it isn't a pretty farmhouse on a hillside, and we try to make it a practice to even produce and provide meats and proteins that are certified humane or small farms or certified organic or no hormones and antibiotics, just because it's, number one, it's a commitment to what we believe in, and it's important to our customers, but it also keeps our consciousness at the top of our priority list.
Yeah. 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 Now, that's beautiful too. And you just like alluding to it, like it's the infinite loop, the inner, the outer, as far as what's inside of me and how it contributes to the global well-being of the world outside of me. And just like the ingredients, and it's like two things that you mentioned is that conscious awareness, and once I infuse and turn that on, it doesn't matter if I'm just making a decision about food or music or TV or people I'm surrounding myself around. As long as I'm continuously developing that conscious awareness, I can use that same discernment for all those things.
That's right.
It's not just something I make about my food and not about my living style, TV, music, and what I'm putting in my mind, or how I'm nourishing my soul, my heart, but it's a conscious awareness that we can cultivate, that brings it into every situation, and I asked Brother Dean, how do you develop on your own personal journey, that conscious awareness that you can bring into all this society and everything that you do and infuse yourself with?
Well, I would love to tell you that I have it figured out, but I don't. But I try to live with intent. The buzzword is mindfulness, which has been around for several years now, and has almost become, excuse me, cliche-ish. But I try to be mindful. I try to be mindful all the time in everything I do, the language that I use, the actions that I take, the way I interact with people. I really make a concerted effort to do the best I can to be aware of the impact that I can have on others. And one of the things that I do here quite often is I draw a straight line with a magic marker, and someone will come in the office, and I might have done it with you, and I'll say, "What is this?" And they'll say, "It's a straight line." And I'll say, "Well, what if I told you that were two lines that were so closely drawn together that we were unable to distinguish one from the other?" And those two lines to me represent my true self and my undisciplined mind.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is when the two are so close together that we can't differentiate it, we lack consciousness and mindfulness. And then I draw two lines and I say, well, what are these? And I'll say two lines and I'll say, well, what if I told you that one was your true self and one was your undisciplined mind, and the space in between creates time for you to be able to distinguish one from the other. And the more you become the observer, the more I have become the observer, the more I have found that I have time to think about or respond in a way that is not going to be hurtful and harmful. And I would be lying if I said that I had mastered the process, because I haven't. But even when we're able to have that moment of, I don't want to call it failure, but lack of being able to pull it off. Growth. Beautiful. You see, it's all how you look at it, right? I mean, I could say failure and you could say growth, and it's how you look at things. Even in that moment, you become aware that you are not where you are capable of being, and you begin to pull and you begin to guide yourself back to the center. So it may be foreign to many, but really it's the way to begin to heal. It's a way to begin to experience the divine. It's a way just to be to find more fulfillment and meaning in your life. It's a beautiful journey, really. So you asked about Dean's. I mean, ultimately, that would be the ultimate goal of Dean's, right? Is to be a place where we can be the students and the teachers for those who are courageous enough to learn. It does take courage, because you have to first acknowledge that there are things within yourself that you can work on to improve, and you can also begin to realize the impact that we have on others, the impact that we have on the environment, and that we could do everything with intent. The Buddha said, when you're walking, know you're walking, and when you're eating, know you're eating, and when you're sitting, know you're sitting. So, Eckhart Tolle once said, he watched people in the city and they were in such a hurry to get where they were going that they missed out on everything that they had passed in the process. And then you rush to the next place without being able to acknowledge. And we live in that space. And once we're able to create some intent and some mindfulness, even though we may be in a hurry, we can acknowledge that we're in a hurry, and we can continue to enjoy what flows through us and what passes us by while we're on to our next experience.
Absolutely. It's the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one single step. It's just the power of this wisdom that's so ancient. And the knowledge that's just coming to this country. It's I call it the new the child that's going through puberty. Because a lot of these techniques that are now coming to fruition, this knowledge and these practices come from thousands of years ago, 5,000, 10,000 years ago. And when I'm now diving into them, it's like, okay, this is a new way for the country. But I like that it's like a little bit of cherry picking. You get a little bit of everything, out here. So let me ask you this, Brother Dan, because you mentioned a beautiful word. You said your true self, and always, if you can bring some light to the world on what Dean's true self looks like, if you can paint that picture.
True self is surrendering and accepting. How do I say it? My circumstances, shedding the ego. Really, I mean, it's as simple as saying shedding the ego. And embracing the things that our culture tells us we need to fight against. Fear. American culture, I often say, American culture is boxing, right? Who can withstand a greater punch? Yet in Eastern tradition, it's about letting the energy flow through. So by accepting our circumstances, and that doesn't mean if someone's about to hit you that you allow them to hit you because you're just accepting to be hit. You get out of the way, of course, but there are things in our lives that that instead of pushing away, we need to embrace. And by doing so, they need to be our friends, and we need to welcome them in. I lived a very, very, very fearful youth. And at one point, I had to surrender. It was too much for me. And now, when something comes up that makes me feel uncomfortable, I welcome it like a friend, because it is a friend. And as you would say, it's an opportunity. Everything creates an opportunity for me to be more at peace with myself. And one of the things that I often say is the power of thought and the power of words and how they influence us. So if someone comes in and says, "I'm depressed," when I envision that statement and that mindset, I envision a jail cell in which you have created a story for yourself that you're boxed into that, and that it is a part of yourself. It's a part of your story. But you could also say, I'm experiencing a moment of feeling depressed. And what you've done, in a sense, is that you've created a doorway or a window to open that allows that feeling to pass when the time comes. So we have a choice. We can tell ourselves the story that we are something and identify with it, or we can have it be a part of our life experience and let it come and go. And that way we're not bound down to any self-perception. There's a great article called The Dark Night of the Soul. And it's about what happens when all the perceptions of ourselves crumble. What are we left with? And, we all have a story that we tell ourselves. And my goal is to not buy into my own story. When someone says to me, you're a great business person, or you're this or you're that, those all create false senses of self. So now all of a sudden, if your business doesn't do well and everybody thinks you're a great business person, well, what are you, right? So I'd rather just be me, and I'd rather be Dean than anything else. And I constantly am challenging myself to be that. And one of the things that I don't take myself very seriously. When people take themselves seriously, again, I think it's often a tendency to look inward and to have them think that their story is, or they are more important than anybody else. We're all equally as important. We're all connected. And the sooner that we free ourselves and acknowledge that what we tell ourselves is just our story, is really when we begin to live our true lives.
Man, the story that we create each and every day, man. That's the power of it, man. I could choose. I was saying this yesterday. It's like, man, yeah, everything is story. Even the words I'm saying right now are infused in a story. As long as I'm speaking, there will be a storyline. But I don't have to be attached to it. I can recreate it, shape it. It's like a video game. It's like, I'm here for this experience. What can I make this experience look like? According to my own will, my own power of manifestation. But yeah, man, when the soul force is strong, those bullets, cuss words, that punch may not even infuse the space, because they're gonna feel that life force reflecting back on them. So I got one more soul question before we go back to the business, man.
Yep.
Dean, you mentioned some beautiful things about your childhood, how it made you who you are now. What would your current form of Dean right now, what advice would you give to your 10, 11-year-old self?
Forgive. Forgive. That would be probably the most powerful thing that I could possibly do, would be to forgive. Forgive all those, including myself.
Man.
I just turned 60. I just turned 60, and there's a part of me that says, man, I missed out on a lot of good stuff by trying to experience life as I am trying to experience now. Yet I'm so grateful that I have the years ahead of me in which I can continue to travel down this path. So I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by people who are like-minded. My wife and I went to a chanting last night, And
Okay.
it was very interesting. It was the first time I had ever gone to one. And what I, as I watched them immersed in what they were doing, I asked myself, are people like this, what positive impact or potential negative, right? Negativity could they be putting in the world? And it was all good, right? I mean, yourself and Rodney and the people that you work with, and some other people that I'm blessed to be around. Um, there's so much good out there, and if we can surround ourselves with those people, when someone says to me, everybody's out to screw you, I say, funny, I don't think anybody's out to screw me. Like, why would I surround myself with those people? And why would I allow myself to waste the time in my life to have that kind of perception within myself?
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm constantly seeking, and thank goodness in my environment, you don't have to look very far, people that I can learn from and that can inspire me, and that live the truth, right? That live their truth, and they continue to help me and inspire me to stay on the. You can't, like you said a few minutes ago, something you about you to have be conscious in one aspect of your life and not in another is almost impossible. Awareness is awareness, and mindfulness is mindfulness, um, and it's something that you can't unlearn, right? You can deny it when you're angry with yourself or things aren't going the way you want them to, but you know that it's still there, and you know that every moment that you spend in that space, in the space that you don't need to be in, is a moment that you're wasting.
Oh, yeah. It's true. It's true, man. What you do is a reflection of your heart. How I choose to react or respond is a reflection of what's in my heart. And it's like the general world, they just get caught up in those happy things that people do for them, and it's like, oh man, it's so lovely, those beautiful words, that beautiful gift. But that attachment is creating the suffering, because what will come up will eventually come down. It's a cycle of life. And it's like, oh man, you hurt me. No, I hurt me by giving my power
Right.
away, just understanding that aspect. Don't take anything personally. It's not about me. It's just the story that's being created around me. So I got one final question for you, brother. I love this juicy, beautiful conversation. And just seeing the fruits that are coming out, and the awareness that often people don't see around Dean's Natural Food Market, and behind the concept and the idea and the individual, of the deeper layers of your soul. But what is your broader vision, not just for Dean's Natural Food Market, but for your connection to kids too? So what is your broader vision for kids and Dean's Natural Food Market that you would like to see manifest in the world?
Well, I mean, I would love to. I mean, I have my own selfish interest. I would love kids to be on the forefront of everyone's mind, right? I would love kids to be working with police departments and first responders and doctors and students, and everybody that we all need to be touched. To think that not everybody needs to be touched just isn't the case. And we really should have learned by now that we can't count on our politicians, and we can't throw money at racism and bigotry and social injustice. That
I do the work.
every 4 years we hear about how I'm gonna fight to end racism, and here we are, hundreds of years later, and there's no equity, there's no equality, and the only place that's going to, in my opinion, the only place that's going to change are through organizations like yours, and that's why I'm such a strong believer. We had talked recently about raising funds, and we're committed to raise 10 grand this month, because we know that the money is going to be well spent, and we know that it's going to make a difference, and it's not going to be The money will not be lost in, the bureaucracy of nonprofit overhead, and extraneous expenses. That the money's going to go to the children,
Yeah.
because we need to live through example.
Mm.
I don't like to use the word need. It would be helpful to all if we live through example. There's a Buddhist teacher named Noah Levine, and they said, "How do you teach your children about Buddhism?" And he said, "I don't teach my children about Buddhism. I try to live like the Buddha." And through our own actions, hopefully we can facilitate change. Because candidly, if we don't do it, who will? And
Not you, then who?
I'm behind you guys 1,000%, and because I know that through my own experience and through other people who have come to me in pain and suffering, and just a few simple pieces of insight has got them to change the way they look at things, is very, very impactful. And we need to heal. We need to heal from within, and
Yeah.
that's how we're going to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I was just thinking about how you started this whole, and even the Buddhist example that you gave, it's like you can even just take out, we need to live by example. Just we live by example all the time, because it's constantly happening, whether you know it or not, whether you think someone's watching or not. Eyes are always watching, eyes always watching, eyes always watching. And when you understand that concept, it's like, I'm always here. I'm always setting an example. No matter what I do in the dark, no matter what I do in the light, it is always the example that's going to flourish, the boomerang effect,
And I'd like to say with great humility, that we all stumble and fall, because that's part of the human experience. That's part of being human. So to sit here and portray that, for myself, that I have found a way to live 100% of the time in this state of being isn't true. So I say with humility that I experience, we all experience the same aspects of being a human being. It's how we learn from them, and how we get back up and try to live with greater purpose. That's really the deciding factor. I would suggest people accept your humanness, yet observe the divine.
Yes. It's no difference. It's no difference. I forgot who just posted something. It's like, oh, everything is spiritual, no matter what you're doing, and that's the connection we all have. Now, Brother Rod's actually right here. He's in the formless.
Oh, geez, there goes the neighborhood.
He's formless right now, but the spirit, they say, he's whispering a manifestation of a Tesla. But that's just joking. But Brother Rod definitely is here in spirit everywhere. Rod's always here. But I'm thankful for this experience to connect with you. I'm thankful for everything that's going on in Dean's right now. For those who don't know, Kids Spring Up is this March in Dean's Natural Food Market, all stores, whether it be the Roundup donations that are coming to kids, or the 3% sales on Dean's Natural Food Market products, and just a lot of different things happening at Dean's, where he's supporting our mission and living our mission, essentially, and just, providing this blueprint to the community, and that's wholeness, that's balance, that's harmony, that's awakening, and it's all coming back. But us, by living our example, So, Brother Dean, any closing words you want to give to the people? Any inspiring words you want to? I see some youth actually on the call, that not so much youth, I'm talking to the young Queen Ice, but I know you remember Iceland, remember? But what inspiring words would you give to the people who are listening to this message?
Don't define your being by your story, because your story is just just that. It's a story. It's a story, and that you are so much more than that. We are all so much more than that. We're not defined by the community that we live in. We're not defined we're not defined by the material objects that we possess. We're not defined by our status in our society. All those things are make-believe. And that, there's another saying, I love sayings that at the bottom of the deepest, roughest sea, there is stillness. And we all possess a place within us, regardless of our human hardship, that allows us to tap into a beautiful place and begin the journey. For me, it started with a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. That was really that was really the first step for me. And I realized that I was not my thoughts, and I was not, the story that I told myself. And it was through a lot of suffering and a lot of trial and tribulation that I discovered how to be more at peace. So you're not the story that other people say you are. You are beauty and divinity, and everything else is just other people trying to make themselves feel bigger by trying to make you feel smaller. And have compassion for those people, because somewhere within their heart there's something missing that is causing them to feel like they need to be bigger and more that they are, to create a sense of being in their lives.
That's the challenge for all.
And be kind to people. Just be kind. Help people. Just, if someone's having a bad day, be the observer. Find a way to make them happy. Fix a chain on a kid's bike on the side of the road. Hand $1 to someone who needs anything. Just find reasons to be. They're everywhere. Every moment of every day, find reasons to laugh and be kind.
Yeah, it's reminded me of that too when you were saying that earlier, talking about when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
That's right.
And essentially everything around you is the guru teaching you something about yourself. So anytime I have a negative thought, that is a reflection of myself, and the form that is holding that thought and that emotion. So always look within, man. That is the blueprint for any change. But Brother Dean, man, yeah, I appreciate all the gems, man, all the life that you brought to this space. I
appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate our day one, man. Our day one, big supporter, man. Just not just financially, but energetically. From the times we were just operating out of a barbershop, then transitioning to Cooler Cafe, Boys and Girls Club. We were getting organic, nourished food, plant-based foods from Dean's Natural Food Market. His chefs, his team were putting in work, man, and helping us out and helping us come through. But definitely appreciate the love, the support, the light that you bring to the space, And I just speak on behalf of just the organization, everybody, man. We appreciate you as an establishment for being in the community, because it just offers access to foods we may not have access to if you weren't around. So, oh man.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. And once again, the work that you're doing is the real work. And I hope that you gain support, not just from us, but by everybody that you come into contact with, because the world needs it. We've never needed it more than we need it right now. It's a race between the conscious and the unconscious, and consciousness needs to prevail.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Dean's Natural Food Market, the staff. Like Brother Rod said, the whole staff. And I say shout out to our whole staff too. Many of them who are on the line and listening and connecting, and just shout out to anyone who supported the energetic transformation of this world, because that's what it takes. As soon as I change myself, I am already creating a better world.
That's right.
We appreciate you all right, man. Have a beautiful day. Check out Dean's Natural Food Market. See some flyers in the stores. We're holding workshops this month, on the 15th, the 22nd, and 29th. Check that out. And we're doing a lot of big things with Dean, but just come out, support, and just grab some good nourishment. Have a beautiful day, y'all.
All right,
Brother
man.
Dean, have a beautiful day, man.
Thanks for having me, and keep up the good work.
Oh, man, we'll see you soon. And shout out to Eileen on the back end. I see you, girl.
She's back here.
Yeah.
She's coaching me.
It's
All
like
right.
when your daughter or your son has to do your IG live for you, you know. But
Hey,
it's
no
all good.
social media for me.
Yeah, 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 bro. Thank you,
All
brother,
right,
for
man.
blessing us with your presence. Have a
Peace,
beautiful day.
peace to you. All right.
Peace.
I'll talk to you.
All right.